From the Aishin Broadcast Studio, it's AMN Drive Time, brought to you by Aishin.
AMN Drive Time is sponsored by Aishin, your trusted and reliable source for aftermarket automotive components and technology. Visit AishinAftermarket.com for more information.
John, welcome to AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our great friends at Aishin.
Well, thank you, Bill. I'm really glad to be here and certainly look forward to our conversation. So thanks again.
So, John, why don't you start off, if you would, please, and just walk us through your professional career and how you ended up running the Automotive Aftermarket Charitable Foundation.
Yeah, sure, Bill. It's a really great story from my perspective. Obviously, I spent 40 plus years in the aftermarket, and I got my start back in the early 80s with Napa on the parts side of the business, and spent quite a few years with them in different roles. And then I took a leap and got into the tire industry, and went to work for Pirelli for about 5 years, and Pirelli entered into this agreement with Cooper, which took me to Cooper, and I was with Cooper for, was with them for 15 years, and my last position there was director of key accounts, and I happened to have a client, TBC Corporation, down here in Florida.
Sure.
And it was right about the stage in my life where I'm sure you've experienced this. You just don't want to shovel any more snow. And because I was up in Findlay, Ohio with Cooper, and TBC being in West Palm Beach, or in the Palm Beach Gardens, Florida area, certainly was attractive to me. They wanted me to come to work for them, and I couldn't be happier with that opportunity. So I did that. That was in 2014. And served different roles. I was in wholesale distribution of tires for them. I also ran the Big O Tires organization, so retailing and franchising. And I finished my career at TBC in 23 in purchasing. And ironically enough, my team in purchasing handled all of the parts and non-tire procurement for the company. So I kind of came full circle in my career, started in parts and ended up in parts, but it was just a wonderful career. As far as the AACF is concerned, when I was at Cooper, I got introduced to the AACF actually through TBC. And Cooper then became a sponsor of the large fundraising event, which we'll talk about later, I'm sure, that happens in Vegas during Apex and SEMA. And just was with them for a number of years just as a sponsor. So I enjoyed going down there, participating in that event that the AACF hosted. And then when I went to work for TBC, I was actually asked in 21 to be a board member. And so I was honored about that, and certainly I was excited about that opportunity, and was on the board. And in 23, as I mentioned, I had retired from TBC. And I was down here in South Florida taking in some golf and some boating and just having a good time. And here their executive director had retired. And the executive committee, as I tell the story, the executive committee from the AACF had my wife's phone number. So they contacted her and said, "Hey, listen, aren't you tired of having him getting your hair around the house? He needs to go back to work." So I was just, again, very grateful for that opportunity. I have been the executive director since August of 24. And it's just been a wonderful couple of years. And, as far as being in retirement, the short period of time that I was, they talk a lot about trying to find passion and purpose in what you're going to do, right? And boy, this just checked both of those boxes, and I couldn't be happier. This is kind of a dream job for me, and it's even more gratifying when you see the work that the AACF does in helping people in our industry. It's just fantastic. It's very heartwarming. So again, that's kind of my history in the aftermarket, and how I came about becoming the executive director of the AACF.
So you mentioned early 80s. I got my start in our business in 1985, and I worked in Chicago, and Cooper's ad agency was in Chicago, coincidentally.
Okay.
and it was my account. So Cooper Tire was my account when I worked in Chicago, but I mostly worked with your agency in Chicago, and Cooper was always a big believer in B2B advertising.
Very good company. Now, of course, part of Goodyear, right? So
Yes.
it's interesting how things all happen in our industry, but the faces and names don't change. It kind of folks just move around from one place to another, and that's what makes this industry special, I think.
Yeah. In fact, you're John Owens. I think he's board chair there.
He is our president, yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
He and I worked together for a lot of years at Babcock's Media. As executive director of AACF, John, how do you describe the mission today, and how has the foundation evolved? And really importantly, how does someone seek help if they need it?
Let's talk first about how the foundation has evolved. And I would tell you this, that from a standpoint of what it is today, our strategy and our certainly our mission has not changed. Back in 1959, when the foundation was founded by just a small select group of individuals in the aftermarket, and it was really in and around trying to help some of their friends' wives, the widows of some folks that had passed away, and were just having some difficult times financially and just making ends meet. And so that's how it got its humble beginnings, and it continued to evolve to the point now that we help just a plethora of individuals and families that are affected by life's hardships. So be it an accident, an illness, a death in the family, a natural disaster, they can reach out to the AACF, and what we do is we provide them with financial assistance. And it's the evolution of the foundation has really been focused on the growth of the organization, the growth in both the structure and our capabilities to help people, but also more importantly, driving awareness and increasing certainly the funding side of things from our generous sponsors and donors. But then most importantly, increasing the number of recipients, the number of people that we actually can help and provide financial aid to that are really in tough spots. And I had mentioned those spots before. It's it's interesting, and you get to hear these stories. And when I was a board member, I always saw the number of people that we helped and how much we were providing to those individuals over the course of a year. But we never really got to hear the stories. And I think that most recently, with my becoming executive director, I'm obviously exposed to those stories now. But now we're also sharing them with our board members, sharing them with others in the industry, just as a testimony of what the AACF does in terms of helping people. You asked about the evolution, and one of the things I mentioned, how growth is so important to us in so many aspects. One of the most recent things that we've been focusing on is expanding our reach. This organization got its start in the traditional automotive aftermarket with also accessories and high performance. But most recently, we just expanded our reach into heavy duty and commercial. And, we still are highly involved with the entire infrastructure of the aftermarket. So we're still looking at independent, repair retailers, also regional and national auto service and tire retailers, wholesale distributors, and also manufacturers. So pretty much everybody that's involved in the aftermarket. You asked, Bill, how does somebody get some help, or how do they reach out to us? So it's really, really simple. Everything is accessible, by the way, on our website, which is aftermarketcharity.org. And you can go on the website if you're an individual that's been affected by one of those things that I mentioned before, encountering a life's hardships, and you need some help. You fill out a very simple qualification application. And the only qualification we really have is that you have to be employed for 1 year in the aftermarket with one employer, or you can be employed for 3 years with multiple employers. Because you can imagine a lot of folks that we do help are technicians, for an example, and some technicians have a tendency to move from one location to another over a short span of time. So Once that is completed, if you certainly qualify, we would then send you a full application. You fill out that application comes back, goes in front of our recipient review committee. And that review takes place within 24 hours. We kind of pride ourselves on how quick we can respond. So once it is reviewed, it is either approved or disapproved. And we're right now right around 94, 95% approval rate. And you will then be notified that you're going to be receiving payment within 5 to 7 days. So the turnaround time is extremely quick, and we're real proud about that. And we have a great team of people. Our recipient review committee is just a great bunch of people, and they move very quickly and keeps us nice and nimble and agile, and it's just fantastic.
John, AACF has launched a few new events and campaigns in the last 18, 24 months. I think our audience would be interested in hearing about those.
So our largest event, our biggest fundraiser, is the days leading up to Apex SEMA. That is the 2 days. It's a Sunday and a Monday. And Sunday evening, we have an industry cocktail reception that usually gets about 200 people in attendance. And that is followed by the Monday, we have a golf tournament, which is the Bob Shabrel Memorial Golf Tournament. And this year we had also we had 198 golfers, 198 golfers, so almost 200 golfers that played. Wow. And we were blessed. It was a gorgeous day. But we have that every year and have had it for every year for the last 33 years. So this will be the 34th year this year. It will occur on November 1st and 2nd. That's the Sunday and Monday leading up to Apex and SEMA. And again, it's our largest fundraiser. It probably generates about 75% of our revenue, Bill. And, given that has been the core of really the fundraising capabilities and the activities of the foundation. We are in our second year now of a classic car sweepstakes. So we were seeking some additional revenue streams. And I don't know if you're familiar with any of these classic car sweepstakes that are going on within our industry, but they're pretty prevalent now. And so we said, why don't we get involved doing this? So last year, it was our 65th anniversary, and we gave away a 1965 Mustang convertible. And this year we have a 1969 Pontiac Firebird, just this gorgeous piece of muscle car, historic machinery of the automotive, a great example of our automotive industry in the era back in the late 60s. It's really easy to get involved with that. It's a simple donation, provides you with entries into the sweepstakes, and you can win this gorgeous car. So that has added to our activities. We also have, this is our second year, we launched our Humanitarian Award. And the Humanitarian Award, our first one ever, was given at the Auto Care Connect meeting last year. And the award is sponsored by Nexus. And we are right now in the midst of accepting nominations. So we would encourage anybody seeing this to please, if you have someone you'd like to nominate for our Humanitarian Award, please do so. It will be given away in April this year at MEMA's Vision Conference. So we kind of the thought was going back and forth from Auto Care Association, from the Connect to Vision. And so this is our second year. We're looking forward to that. This past year, we took on another event. So that event that I described earlier, that Sunday and Monday evening and leading up to SEMA Apex, we held a cornhole and a tailgate reception this year. And it was on the Saturday night. And I'll tell you what we took a leap of faith on that one, but it turned out to be just a wonderful event. Everybody had a great time. It was fun. It was a sports bar vibe. And so we had some big screen TVs there as well. And it just so happened, Bill, would you believe that it was the seventh game of the World Series? So the crowd that was there didn't leave until the game was over, and it was just a really good event. So we're looking forward to doing something like that again this year. The details of that haven't been worked out yet, but stay tuned because you'll hear more information, I'm sure, soon. A couple other things that I want to talk about is the Aftermarket Hearts Giving Circle. and you can see maybe behind me here is a banner that promotes that. Most of our fundraising has been really designed to engage with corporations, and this is a little different. This is mainly targeting individuals, and it's a recurring donation program based on whatever amount you would so choose on a monthly basis. So, Bill, I think you're very familiar with the University Aftermarket. This is very similar to their coffee club. And it's just a great way for a very, nominal amount to get an individual involved that really wants to help out his brothers and sisters in the industry by, let's say, $5 a month, if that would be the case. And so we launched that here at the tail end of this year, and you'll see more of that this year as well. The last thing I want to mention, and it's really because we're seeking some help here, is we have created what we're referring to as NDO, which is our Natural Disaster Outreach Program. And what we're looking for here is we're looking for companies that can join us in this outreach, and it's designed to communicate to those within the aftermarket that the AACF is there for help if you need us, particularly after a natural disaster in a specific geographic region that is being affected. So if you can just imagine some folks that have, if it's a national retailer or national wholesaler, if you have a national footprint that may be within these areas that are affected, we're asking you to partner with us in a communication effort to push out the message about the AACF and what we do and how we can help. And if you're one of those that is affected by this natural disaster. So if anybody's interested in that, I please encourage, you to get in touch with, encourage them to get in touch with us because it's a great program. And I can tell you just recently with these two winter storms that we just had through the middle of the country in the Northeast, we have had plenty of people that we've been able to help. Folks have been without power, folks have been without utilities and water. Folks that have been gotten into vehicle accidents that can't necessarily afford the repairs on their vehicles. So just as simple as, it's not simple, but those storms were quite impactful. But, again, you don't think of the winter storms as maybe a natural disaster, but I can tell you it affected a lot of people in not such a good way. So we were glad to be able to be there to help.
Yeah, I'm a longtime board member of the University Aftermarket. We spoke about it. The coffee club has been a great thing for us, and I think your similar thing will do well for you guys too.
Well, thank you.
So, John, why is it important in your mind for the aftermarket to have a dedicated charitable foundation? And what does it say about the culture of this industry and its ability to support individuals and families in crisis and give them the chance to start again?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I'd mentioned earlier 40 plus years in the aftermarket, and it's been a wonderful industry. It is the people that are within this industry. They're very compassionate, they're very caring, yet they're very competitive, of course. But it's almost like the aftermarket community is a very close-knit, almost family-like environment. And I think that everybody within it has a great passion for the industry, great passion for the industry's success. And they have a way of coming together and providing assistance and help when it's necessary. And I guess is a great example of that right now is how the industry and the folks within the industry have come together to support the Right to Repair Act. And so that is just one example, but it's the aspect too of always, caring for those within our industry and always be willing to lend a hand. So, whether or not you get involved, if you get involved with the AACF, whether or not you're an ambassador to help us spread awareness, whether you become a donor or a sponsor, it's all designed to, again, help those within our industry, the brothers and sisters, so to speak, that are part of this community. And that, it is just so important that, the foundation has been, you mentioned dedicated, it's dedicated to our industry. We only help those that are within the aftermarket. And, in essence, we are taking care of our own. And I think that alone just makes a statement. And I think that if you're involved in the industry, if you've been there for a long period of time, like myself, have lots of tenure, this is certainly getting involved is certainly a way for you to give back to the industry that has supported you and your career. Like myself, provided me and my family such a wonderful life for these 40 plus years. But if you're new to the industry, it gives you an opportunity again to help those when they need help. But more importantly, God forbid that if you yourself would ever be in a situation where you need help, you too can also reach out to the AACF. So again, I just think that it's all about this culture of this industry, how close everyone is, this family-like environment, and how caring, compassionate, and generous the folks are in this industry makes it so special.
John, as you may know, we do a tradition on AMN Drive Time called Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're just going to give me a quick answer off the top of your head.
Okay. Is there any money involved in this, Bill? I'm just curious. Or trips,
no, there's no money involved. No money involved. So, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Question 1. What's your favorite type of racing and why?
Oh, favorite type of racing. It's got to be drag racing. Why? I used to participate when I was younger. I actually married into a racing family. My wife's father was a drag racer, and it just, all those years of just kind of hanging around the track and enjoying that. It's been interesting to watch. You talk about evolution, right? It's amazing how that whole sport and the vehicles that participate have evolved. Who would ever think that Top Fuel and funny cars would be going as fast as they're going today? I mean, it's crazy. But just really enjoy it. I don't get to see it or witness it as much as I used to, obviously, but it's probably the best motorsports that appeals to me.
Tough question. Describe a recent accomplishment, personal or professional, over the last couple of years that you're proud of.
I guess I'd have to reflect on the AACF. How can you not? I'm so proud of how this organization has grown substantially over my tenure. And again, it's not obviously just some of the changes that we've made and some of the activities that certainly we have pursued to increase our awareness and increase our funding. But more importantly, we're back to the people again. We have an incredibly, I mentioned structure earlier. We have an incredibly great board. It's 30 people on our board of trustees. And again, these are folks that volunteer their time. They all have full-time jobs. It's only myself and Misty Walker. Misty is our operations manager. Myself and Misty are the only 2 paid employees of the foundation. And we get all the help from the rest of the folks on the board. And again, I just think that everyone that is involved with this organization needs to be extremely proud, like myself, about how far we have come in a short period of time. And again, Bill, the opportunities are so vast. So we're going to continue to work really, really hard and continue to grow this organization, but more importantly, put more funding in the hands of folks in our industry that need it the most.
Who has had the most influence on your career?
Oh my goodness.
And I know that's a tough question because you don't want to miss anybody, but you got to give me one, but no more than 3.
One, but no more than 3. Okay. That's a tough one because, 40 plus years, there were quite a few individuals that have helped me immensely. The one person that I have a lot of respect for that has helped me and helped me in a kind of a different way. It was Roy Arms. Roy Arms was the former CEO of Cooper Tire and Rubber Company. And Roy has become, he and his wife, Marcia, have become great friends of ours. And Roy did something that again, creates this respect that I had for him. And that's when I left Cooper. I had been working for someone else there, not reporting directly for Roy. to Roy, and after the fact went to see him and had just a great conversation with him. But he looked me right in the eye and just gave me one of those things, one of those statements that just said, "Listen, I know you've made your decision. I know you're moving on, and I'm not going to stop you. I wish maybe we could have had this conversation sooner." But at the end of the day, just a fantastic leader. I tried to, emulate him in a lot of my different leadership qualities, and just a wonderful individual. So if I had to pick one, I'd have to mention Roy Arms.
Do you have any hobby or activity you wish you had more time for?
Well, as I mentioned, I was retired, so I was golfing. I was probably spending up to 3 days on a golf course during the week, and I'm really, really blessed and fortunate. We have a boat down here, and it's within walking out the back door and just right out to the canal and back. So if I had an opportunity to spend some more time doing something like either one of those two things, particularly spending some time on the boat, that's what I'd be doing. But I'll tell you what, as I mentioned before, it is just such a pleasure doing what I'm doing right now and working for the AACF, because it doesn't seem like work, right? It's so gratifying to see the work that the foundation does, and it just doesn't feel like a job. After spending all those years in a corporate environment and now working on the nonprofit sector and doing the kind of things that we're doing to help individuals on our industry, in my opinion, it doesn't get any better than that. So any day at work is almost, it's extremely pleasurable for me to see what happens. So, but again, at some point in time, there will be that time where maybe I'll have that additional time back on my hands and I could pick up the golf clubs again and jump on the boat. So that's what I'd be doing.
Hey, sometimes work's more fun than fun, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, last one for you. You ready?
Yep.
What's the most interesting car you've owned or wished you had owned?
Oh boy, I have two stories to that one. So the most interesting car I ever owned was interesting, and since I mentioned drag racing earlier, I had a 1970 Plymouth Duster 340. And I drag raced it, but I also had it on the street for a period of time. And I would tell you this, that car was best just going in a straight line. And at the time I lived in Pennsylvania. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, and up and down the hills and twisty, windy roads. And I'll tell you what, it was probably the most dangerous thing I ever have sat behind a wheel trying to navigate that car around Pennsylvania. But it was actually a nightmare. So that's very memorable. And then the flip side of the answer is that it's been a while since I've had something that I can tinker on. And we had asked all our board members, we did a real nice profile for them and their personal profiles, and we asked them the very same question. Okay. What kind of vehicle do you own? And do you have a certain passion about one that you used to own? And mine, as I mentioned, there was a imaginary 1969 SS 396 Chevelle sitting in my garage. So it's not there yet. Hopefully that's another thing that may come along with the golf and the boating in the years to come. But that would be my quest to have one of those sitting in my garage soon.
John, it's great to have you on AMN Drive Time, sponsored by our great friends at Aishin.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for having me. This has really been a pleasure. I watch and listen to the show very often, and you've done a great thing in communicating messages out to the industry and those that have, also been on the show with you. So thank you for what you're doing for our industry. We really appreciate it.